Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Guys, we're taking a look today at the Boston Bruins as we're starting to hear about potential numbers here for a new contract for your Boston Bruins, probably top defenseman Charlie Mcavoy. We're going to be taking a look at what the number could be in today's video. So, Jimmy Murphy, a big hockey insider, especially on the east side of things, the northeast, Boston Bruins in particular. Murphy uses multiple defensemen making $9 million AAV on a long-term deal as comparables for defenseman Charlie Mcavoy. Now, this does make a lot of sense. McAvoy, again, Long Beach, Long Island native, which is frustrating, and there's more to that story. I remember he was talking a lot of smack about the Bruins when he was a Ranger fan, but other than that, Charlie Mcavoy has put up some really good numbers in Boston. And you look at some of the defensemen that have gotten big money this summer. I mean, it started off with Maro Heiskanen getting that 8.25, which actually looks like a good contract already. And he's thinking, shit, I still have a year away from that. I probably could have asked for more if he had waited. That's how it works. Cale Makar gets $9 million per year, but he only took a 6-year deal compared to a lot of these other deals where they're 8 years. So Charlie McAvoy may fall somewhere in that mix. And the Bruins do have a little bit of cap space opening up. Again, how much is it worth? You have Bergeron. Again, that money could be eaten up rather quickly. But the 23-year-old defenseman has been very good in Boston. He's played 200 games in the NHL. And he's been a pretty consistent player. Again, the last 2 years have been shortened seasons. So he's never played a full 82-game schedule. He played 63 games, 54, and then 67 in 2020, which should have been, an interesting year, especially with what happened with the playoff bubble. And then 51 games this year. Again, out of 56 games, it's not because of injury. Now, he has had some of that. Obviously, he has missed games. So, it is something to keep an eye on. But last season, 30 points in 51 games. So, again, that's as a defenseman, that's really good. And you look at some of the numbers that those bigger contracts like Darnell Nurse, again, that's the one he's going to say, listen, Darnell Nurse got 9 over 8. I'm better than Darnell Nurse. I need more than 9 over 8. That's probably what you're looking at if you're if you are Charlie McAvoy. Now, again, I think he's really enjoyed his time in Boston, but he's going to use the leverage to his advantage. That's how this stuff works. And the thing is, the Bruins are going to try their best to use the Heiskanen deal as a comparable, but I don't know if they're going to really get that. I mean, you look at the better contracts in the league. I mean, Sergachev and McAvoy have the best deals because they each signed 3-year deals. McAvoy 4.9 and then Sergachev 4.8. You're not going to see those deals anymore, especially once Thomas Chabot got the 8 over 8 deal in Ottawa. That completely changed the market for defensemen. So McAvoy and Sergachev, when their deals are done this summer, you're going to see a huge pay raise from those two guys. And like I said, some of the newer deals, you got Heiskanen, 8.45, 8 years on that deal, $9 million for Cale Makar on a 6-year deal. But again, that was to keep the AAV down, so he took a 6-year deal. He could still make another big contract in his mid to late 20s, probably late 20s, early 30s, and he could still cash in on probably another 6 or 7-year deal when the time comes. And like I said, since then, Darnell Nurse is a big example of, all right, maybe he's nothing against Darnell Nurse, a good defenseman. But you could say easily Charlie McAvoy, 1-for-1 in a trade, he's going to get more. So I think it's interesting that they're kind of lowballing it. They're saying he's worth $9 million. McAvoy may be worth that $10 million. Again, by the time next summer rolls around, could that be on the table? Now, the thing is, in a flat salary cap, again, that we're in the flat cap era of the NHL because of the pandemic, will the salary continue to increase? I don't know if we're going to see that next year. Again, there was a lot of market volume in terms of salary this year because of the expansion Kraken. We're not going to see money spent as crazy next year unless they're adding another team that I don't know, maybe in Houston, but as of right now, there's no new team coming into the NHL, which would be another 82 to 86 million of cap in the league. That's not going to be the case now. So that's going to have some ramifications on this deal. And like I said, the Bruins already have a couple of bigger contracts on their roster. Can they afford to keep McAvoy at a cap hit that's reasonable and long-term? Because ideally, a defenseman like McAvoy, the deal is long-term. You want to keep him for as long as possible. But the problem is, the more you're going to do that, the higher the salary is going to be, because now you're buying unrestricted free agency years, and I don't know if the Bruins can necessarily do that. Like I said, they have $2 million in cap space right now. But like I said, Bergeron's contract's up, Jake DeBrusk, who I don't see coming back, and that's really it, and McAvoy. Everybody else pretty much locked into Boston, and again, with that situation, you have $20 million in cap space. So if, let's say they, hypothetical, you give $10 million to McAvoy and you give another 10 to Bergeron, or somewhere in that range, you know, there's no way you keep Jake DeBrusk, and I don't think that's the plan. But I mean, this is going to be interesting to see how they play this out, like, because Carlo's in long term, Grzelcyk's in long term. They signed some guys. I mean, that Derek Forbort signing could come back to bite them. Again, the Bruins, they took a risk here. Their team didn't necessarily do that great last season, and especially their defense. Again, there were a lot of injuries there, but are they going to be able to have success with this defense? And now it's just about keeping them together and retaining them. Now, the good thing is that Charlie McAvoy, at his age, will be a restricted free agent next summer. So, he can be offer sheeted, but he is under the rights of the Boston Bruins, which is huge. And I think that could be the difference between the Bruins signing him and having that leverage that McAvoy maybe wants. And I think that is going to come up as the season goes along. Again, this is something that's going to be probably a season-long discussion because you have two big contracts that have to be re-signed. But I think they will get it done. I think they're going to keep Bergeron. I think they're going to keep McAvoy. But again, a lot of it may depend on how the Bruins do this year, because back in that, you know, that Atlantic division, I mean, it's not any easier than the East division they were in last year. But with teams like Toronto and the two Florida teams, right there's 3 teams plus yourself. That's 4 teams. And if Ottawa comes back, Montreal, I think Buffalo and Detroit, we could safely say, won't make the playoffs. But every other team in that division, it's not a guarantee that you get in. And there's only so many spots. Again, with the Metro, do you really want to rely on maybe making a wild card spot? You're asking a lot there. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What is going to be the next contract for defenseman Charlie McAvoy? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, make sure to